Hello, I'm Claire from Wild Ginger Films, and I'm here with Jen Scotney, who came third in the Montane Challenger race. That's 100 miles, as well as working an 80-hour week as a lawyer. Jen, how on earth did you train for 100 miles?
Yeah, it was hard. I just made the commitment to train and tried to fit it around work. So I was working every evening so that I could fit my runs in during the day, and I was quite strict that I would have one day off in the week, because quite often I would work through weekends, and I've done like maybe sometimes I do 3 weeks without a day off. So I knew I couldn't train properly and do that. So it was just, I think most of my other hobbies fell out of the picture, and it was really just about, yeah, my life became running and working and sleeping and eating. 5 months.
5 months you did that for?
I started training in around, yeah, kind of in the middle of August was when I knew that I had a place on the race. So yeah, I started running then, recceing as well, and right up until the race.
Awesome. So the race was in January, and it was 100 miles, was it?
It ended up being 113, I think the guy that I finished with said. So we had a few detours that made it, there's a bit more road that added to it. I think it's advertised about 108, but once you get past a certain distance, it doesn't really matter. I wasn't stop counting.
And so with an 80-hour week, just take us through like a typical day for you then with training per week.
Well, I was quite strict in that if I didn't have to set an alarm, I wouldn't, because I just knew that, I mean, on my big weeks I was probably doing kind of maybe like 70 miles. My recovery weeks would be about 50 miles a week. So I was doing somewhere between that, and I knew that I needed to sleep to recover. So in the past I've always tried to get up early, tried to be at my desk early. I just thought, oh, I'm not going to worry too much, you know, sleep is important. So some days I would have, it was unavoidable that I had to get up at 4:30 or 5, whatever it was. But I try not to run on those days, just to give my body a chance to recover. So I'd get up not particularly early, and then it would either be a run or a dog walk first, because I don't run with my dog, and then be at my desk for quite a long period. And then the hardest, and then I'd usually do, well, a lot of time I would be doing a second run. So that was the hard one, to get out again, particularly when it got dark and cold. So I'd keep myself out about, after again I'd do another dog walk about 4 o'clock, and then maybe do a couple of hours running. And that was hard because I knew I had to get, I'd had hours at my desk when I got back. So they were the ones where I started getting quite stressed about those, not enjoying them. And at one point, I think it was around October, I just thought, no, you've got to approach this more like your yoga, so that you're not feeling guilty, that you're not stressing. And I just tried to stay really in the present on those runs. So it was like, just, you're out, don't think about what, I just stopped myself thinking about anything in the future other than the race, and just try to appreciate being out in such a beautiful part of the Peak District.
And so you're running twice a day. What intensity were those runs?
I only do low. I don't do particularly fast runs. I mean, I suppose if I knew that I was going to just do, one of the loops that I'd do would be a 3 or 4 mile loop around the river, and I found that it was quite flat and it always seemed manageable. And even if I had a stack of work to do, you know, a tough day ahead, you can do 30 minutes. It's nothing. It's, you know, some people just check their phone for that amount of time. So I was like, right, okay, so those maybe I would go a little bit faster, but otherwise it's all pretty low intensity.
It's a nice slow steady running, and lots of sleep, you say. And what about your nutrition?
Yeah, I mean, it started to do, obviously I'm vegan, I do all my own cooking and things, so I'd say that it would be really healthy, but then when you're doing that amount of training, you're just hungry. So I did find that, you know, I was a lot of bagels, chocolate spread, like vegan chocolate spread. I mean, I was like the worst friend to have because I couldn't keep the weight on. I lost, in those few months, I lost really, wow. And yeah, I wasn't looking to lose any weight at all. I just could not keep the weight on. And so my poor friends would be like coming out with me and they're counting calories and I'm just stuffing brownies. And
did you have time to go out with any friends? It sounds like you were either at your desk working, because you work from home, don't you?
I work from home.
Yeah, and so what specifically is your job?
Well, I'm a human rights lawyer. I qualified as a barrister in 2005, so I represent children and young people in prison mostly. I used to deal with them in care as well, but not so much now. So I do have to travel out to prisons, so maybe I'll go out 2-3 times a week, but the rest of the time I work from home.
And so how did you fit that in with your training? Because a lot of people, they work at, say, an office, so they can do a commute to work. Did you ever find that you just wanted to keep your slippers on and just sit there at your computer in your dressing gown?
No, I mean, I live in the Peak District. This is all on my doorstep. I never have any problem with motivating myself to get out. There were some times where I would try and use it to my advantage. So I sometimes take cases on at prisons in Lancaster. I was representing some clients there, and then I could quite easily hop on the Pennine Way from there. So a lot of my recces were done after work, I suppose, in normal sense. If I was in any of the Manchester prisons, I'd usually come back, and then I could do 20 miles on the Pennine Way over from Snake. So I tried to fit it in as much as possible.
Yeah, fitting it in as and when. And so when you crossed that finish line and you're in 3rd place, how did that make you feel on the Spine Challenge?
Well, I suppose, I mean, I'd been in either between like 2nd and 4th along the race, but you know you're going to finish. I had actually, I don't look happy on any of the photos in the finish, because when I was coming up I was on come end, and that's when the weather had really turned. So this is about kind of 10 miles from the end, and I was starting to feel cold, and it had always been my mantra that you have to keep eating, keep moving, keep smiling. That was what got me through. And so I was like, right, I must eat because I'm getting cold, don't want anything to go wrong. And the only thing that I had in my pack was a Cliff Bar, and it was so cold that the Cliff Bar was frozen, so I bit into it and I've got a false tooth and it just cracked it.
Oh my god, no.
So the last
they do get really cold and frozen though, don't they? I've had to, in races before, I've had to pre-ball them into little bite-sized bits and pop them in my pocket because I know they'll just be frozen.
Yeah, so I stopped on come end, and I was like, I had this tiny bit of tooth and it had come away from the plate. So anyway, I get to the end and I know, like, I didn't want to smile because I had this massive gap, and I was trying to tell Marcus, like, oh, it's horrible to do this. So that was kind of, I suppose, a bit of an anticlimax for me, because then you're just thinking, oh my god, I've got to pay for this new tooth.
Oh no. Oh.
But I think, I mean, for me, I know I didn't particularly race the race. I kept it quite in my comfort zone, and so although, yeah, I am proud to come 3rd, I know I probably should have pushed it a bit more if I wanted to race. So I would quite like to go back and race it.
So, but you're doing another race quite soon. Will you be racing that one then? Because it's quite some distance further, isn't it, that race?
Yeah, so there's one that I'm doing next is Northern Traverse, so that's 190 miles along the Wainwright coast to coast. I'm not, it's still, although the Spine Challenger was a really good training run for that, because it gave me an idea of how I was going to cope without the sleep, and just that distance I hadn't covered before, and that I know that my legs are going to be okay for that amount of time. But to go further is still like that bit more unknown, so I'm not going into it racing, I think.
There you go, ladies. Don't worry about
what Jen. I want to, I guess it comes down to, you know, the last 50 miles.
See how you're feeling.
I think, like, I suppose what I want to do, which I don't feel like maybe for the Spine Challenger, is finish a race knowing that I've given it all, and I know that I still had some left. So I think rather than racing, that will be my goal, to just know that you've given everything.
Yeah, know that you've given it everything. That's a good mantra. So have you got to, like, say if somebody watching this wants to do the Spine Challenger 108 miles along the Pennine Way next January, what would you say is the biggest tip you could give them?
Train. Because I had such a brilliant time, and I loved the training. It took me to new places. I was meeting up with new people. We just had people from Instagram that were doing the race, and we all got together and had a great recce. So that was really good. But for me, it was the consistency. It was getting all those runs in. So I'd be doing, you know, if you're doing 8 runs a week or whatever, and it was just, it made it so much pleasurable because I actually enjoyed my race, and I'm sure that the people that couldn't get that training in had a much tougher time than me.
And if other people have got busy jobs, how do you fit it in? Like, what's the main thing there? What's your key, crucial, essential tip?
I think, I mean, it did work for me having just that mindset of when you go for a run, this is your time, don't feel guilty, and don't think about what's on your desk when you get back. Just stay in the present moment, which is how I approach my yoga, and that was kind of the key for me. Okay, why do I get so stressed when I'm spending this time running, which is such a good thing for me to be doing, when I wouldn't be like that on the yoga mat? I never stop and storm off and go to my desk. So I think that was it. Just, yeah, don't feel guilty, because it was just fantastic. I don't regret any of those runs that I did, even if they were hard to get away for.
Fantastic. Well, I wish you every best bit of luck for 192 miles across the Northern Traverse. It sounds absolutely incredible. We'll be following your progress. Yeah, so thanks for talking to me, and good luck in your next race.
Thank you.
Surprisingly, I'm not feeling that nervous at the moment, but I think perhaps when we get to the start, because I'm just in my own house, but when we get to the start and I see everybody else and kind of pick up on everybody else's nerves, then maybe. I've been still really overwhelmed with the number of messages I've had and wishing me luck, and I know that I've got quite a few friends, and my mum is coming to the start, which is really nice, because I was going to put some photos of the vlog, but my mum and dad walked the Pennine Way in 1974, so I've got some really nice photos of her in her flares going along the places that I'm going to be running today and tomorrow, and I think that, yeah, that's a really nice thought for me. Okay, I'll see you in EDALE.
Yeah, let's go. Smile.
Obviously quite a significant risk of wind chill, but it may gust to 40 miles an hour, so be aware of that. It's not really going to rain much, but it is quite cloudy, and also it's going to be around freezing today, but in the wind it will be.
Mainly, it should have a bit of fun out there, even though it is a bit grotty. But this is the 7th year of this, so do us proud and have some special moments. That's all I need to say. Okay, that's just killing time. Okay, ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
First few miles done, and yeah, I'm feeling good. Just heading off of Jacob's Ladder and now heading on to Kimber, which looks nice and misty for us. Hopefully not too mysterious. I think I know the path. Just came up to the downfall. Oh, it's stunning. This is definitely what it's about. Just about to come off BLEAKLOW, and it feels good, especially as we're kind of getting out of Derbyshire and I feel a little bit further away from home. So let's go, and then we're heading over there. Well, heading up Black Hill, just getting to the lovely stream crossings, which on high Soul, I don't think I've ever seen this, so it doesn't feel the same as when it's here in August. And I think I'm probably, well, I think I'm going to have lower moments, but I'd say I did have a little dip just going up Ladder Rocks. It just felt slow. It felt like I've been walking a lot, kind of with that and things. So, but I had Phil keeping me company. He was really nice. We just distracted each other by nattering, and I think I also just kind of thought, well, nobody overtook me and I'm fine. so suck it up, I think, is what I need to say. Yeah, I suppose it's just starting to feel a bit slow. A lot more walking than I would have done on records and races, but then with the terrain in my pack, it seemed okay. Sorry, I'm just looking because I think I'm on the right side of the street. Up at the M22, which I'm really happy to be up here in the light. Just stopped for a minute just to get some food out of my pack and put it in my front. I've also got my head torch out. So yeah, just kind of getting sorted. The wind has really dropped up here, so it looks like we're in for quite a cold night, though I haven't got my gloves on at the moment. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking that I might be going a bit slow, but I'm in third and my legs feel as fresh as when we set off, to be honest. So I'm just kind of might push it a little bit more, but at the same time I've still got I think I've done like maybe about a third of the race. I've done 30 something miles, so I do want to save a little bit for the end. And since I set off, I think I've only had like maybe well, in that last section I've only had 2 guys come past, and like one of them, his race strategy was just to get to HEBDEN as fast as he possibly could, and then death march the rest of the way. So I'm not bothered if he goes past me. I wasn't taking on board that plan. So yeah, we're coming up to the motorway and all looking good. Happy to be here. Don't know if you can see that, but the lovely mountain whiskey guys just giving me a black tea like the White House. And yeah, still feeling like am I going a bit too slow, or but I'm feeling good and definitely still smiling, so that's the main thing. Well, I'm in the HEBDEN checkpoint, and it's not really how I imagined. Normally checkpoints are kind of bustling, busy, everybody everywhere, but we had to take our shoes off, and then we got shown to the this little room. I think here is the lady in second, so I'm hoping to get away quick. Before her would be great. And yeah, I've started on the pasture in the coat. I say we because I've been running with this guy Andy. He's been really good at just kind of keeping me distracted, really. But so we must be about 60 or so miles in, maybe just a little bit less, but I'm feeling great. And yeah, legs are brilliant. I think the only thing, just that my feet feel like they've kind of got blisters, but I don't know if that's in my head. But yeah, feeling good. I know that second place isn't too far ahead. It was a bit weird at the checkpoint when we were all put in that room together, but I'm just feeling good. Keep moving. I'm just coming up to Pinhole, and I'm okay. Fourth lady has just come past me very strongly, so I didn't follow, but that's a bit disappointing. But I was kind of expecting it because I know she's good. And yeah, like my legs have been brilliant. It's just the soles of my feet that I feel a bit like they're on fire. Kind of felt like I had blisters that were popping, and now it's just like walking on hot coals or pins and needles. So I'm just trying to stay focused. Unfortunately, I've lost my little running mate Andy, who's been great. He was getting a bit tired, but he's gone on a bit. So yeah, it's just about 4 in the morning. I don't know how many miles I've done because my watch has died, so there'll be no Strava later. But yeah, no, I mean on the whole, I'm good. Just in the fields after Gargrave, and nice surprise, not popping up for her, was that I passed the woman that's been in second for most of it. So I'm now back in third, and yeah, I'm just frustrated that my legs are fine, but my feet just really hurt and the soles. So I'm doing what I can, and yeah, still a long way to go. Made it to MALHAM COVE, I'm not going to say too much because I'm worried that animal's going to catch me up. But yeah, still feeling great and just trying to move as quickly as possible. We are heading up Fountainstall and it's absolutely freezing. I've got 5 layers on with Andy. He's calling it a death march, I'm calling it a victory procession because we're nearly finished.
Oh no, I've got the negative mindset.
We've done about 90 miles, would you say?
Yeah.
And yeah, not looking forward to these 2 hills, but looking forward to what's on the other side. And I think we're doing okay.
More Ben.
Made it to the top of Fountainstall. Well, the bit that Pennine Way goes over, and it is absolutely freezing.
Brilliant.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah, let me scan you in. Well done.
Well done.
Well done.